DeMarcus Lawrence, a name synonymous with grit, passion, and relentless pursuit of quarterbacks, has shocked the football world once again with a move that few saw coming but many now can't stop talking about. After an 11-year career with the Dallas Cowboys, one filled with Pro Bowl appearances, iconic sacks, emotional speeches, and unmatched dedication to the star on his helmet, Lawrence has officially parted ways with the only NFL team he had ever known, and in a twist that feels almost cinematic, he's taken his talents to the Pacific Northwest, signing a multi-year deal with the Seattle Seahawks in what is being called one of the most unexpected comeback moves of the decade. For years, Cowboys fans watched Lawrence develop from a promising second-round draft pick into a defensive cornerstone, someone who anchored the pass rush with intensity, set the tone on the field, and became the voice of accountability in the locker room. From strip sacks on Carson Wentz to chasing down mobile quarterbacks like Russell Wilson and Kyler Murray, Lawrence made a career out of making the impossible look routine. He was never the flashiest player, never the loudest self-promoter, but week in and week out, he showed up, gave it everything he had, and played with a level of heart that even his critics couldn't deny. So, when whispers began to circulate about his possible departure after a tough 2024 season marred by a lingering foot injury, most fans didn't truly believe it. It didn't seem real, not Tank, not the same guy who said he wanted to retire a Cowboy. Not the same guy who fought through injuries, media scrutiny, and shifting defensive coordinators just to stay loyal to the team that drafted him. And yet, as the 2025 offseason unfolded, the signs were hard to ignore. The Cowboys, looking to refresh their roster and possibly rebuild key parts of their aging defense, decided not to extend Lawrence's contract. While they praised his contributions in public statements, behind closed doors it became clear they were preparing to move on. Younger players like Sam Williams and Chauncey Golston were getting more reps. Micah Parsons, the new face of the defense, was evolving into a superstar whose dominance redefined how the Cowboys saw their defensive identity. And with financial pressures mounting, team leadership seemed to view Lawrence as a luxury they could no longer afford despite everything he had done for them. The situation turned from uncertain to undeniable when Lawrence himself made comments hinting at a lack of communication from the organization. He was open about wanting to return, clear about still having fuel left in the tank, and adamant that he could still be a high-level contributor. But that call from the Cowboys never came. No offer, no discussion, no goodbye. It was, in his words, silent. And that silence spoke volumes. That silence said more about the business side of football than any press release ever could. And so, when the Seattle Seahawks announced that they had signed DeMarcus Lawrence to a 3-year, $42 million deal with $18 million guaranteed, the reaction around the league was instant and intense. Seahawks fans were thrilled. Adding a proven veteran to their defensive line was a major win. Cowboys fans, meanwhile, were stunned, confused, and in many cases, heartbroken. For them, it wasn't just about losing a good player. It was about losing a piece of their team's soul. And for Lawrence, the move wasn't just about continuing his career, it was about rewriting his story. You see, this isn't just a comeback, it's a mission. A mission to prove that age is just a number, that leadership still matters, and that one team's loss can be another team's treasure. In Seattle, Lawrence will be reuniting with Aiden Durde, the former Cowboys defensive line coach who now serves as the Seahawks defensive coordinator. That connection is critical. Durde knows exactly how to utilize Lawrence's skill set. He knows what makes him tick. And perhaps most importantly, he knows that even in his early 30s, Lawrence still has the explosiveness, awareness, and tenacity to be a game-changer. In a league that is constantly chasing youth and upside, Seattle chose experience and heart. That's not a gamble, that's a calculated decision based on history and trust. Lawrence didn't come to Seattle to ride the bench. He came to lead, to perform, and to finish his career on his own terms. And let's talk about those terms. His deal is more than respectable. $42 million with a significant guarantee signals that the Seahawks believe he's not just a rotational player, but a true impact presence. In a defense that already boasts rising talent and young speed, Lawrence brings veteran savvy, locker room maturity, and that all-important playoff mindset. It's exactly the kind of addition that turns a good defense into a great one. But with every great story comes drama, and this one is no different. Not long after the news of his signing broke, Lawrence appeared in a podcast interview and dropped a quote that sent Cowboys Nation into an emotional spiral. "I know for sure I'm not going to win a Super Bowl there," he said about the Cowboys. And just like that, years of loyalty were eclipsed by a single sentence. The internet lit up. Fans accused him of being bitter. Others defended him, saying he was just telling the hard truth. After all, the Cowboys haven't even reached a conference championship game since the 1990s. Every year begins with promise and ends in disappointment. For Lawrence, who gave everything he had to that team, it must have been painful to watch the front office continue to fall short, year after year, without making the necessary changes. Still, his comments drew a sharp response, most notably from Micah Parsons, who posted a cryptic but pointed social media message that many interpreted as a direct response to Lawrence's criticism. While Parsons didn't name names, the message was clear: this was his team now, and shots at the Cowboys wouldn't be taken lightly. The tension between the former captain and the new face of the defense was palpable, and though both men have since walked back any suggestion of a feud, the scars are there. These are the emotional ripple effects of letting go of a franchise icon. And let's not overlook what Lawrence represents now: a symbol of the Cowboys' inability to retain and respect their veterans in the twilight of their careers. He joins a long list of players who gave their all to the star, only to be released, ignored, or disrespected in the end. From Dez Bryant to DeMarcus Ware, history is repeating itself. But this time, there's a twist. Because Lawrence isn't fading into retirement. He's not becoming a studio analyst or quietly hanging up his cleats. No, he's suiting up in Seahawks blue, locking in for 3 more years, and aiming to prove that the Cowboys made a mistake. And guess what? The NFL schedule could very well deliver a Cowboys versus Seahawks matchup this season, maybe even with playoff implications. Can you imagine the stakes? DeMarcus Lawrence lining up against his former team, looking to prove a point on national television? The drama writes itself. It would be personal. It would be electric. And you better believe every camera will be focused on 90. This isn't just about football anymore, it's about legacy. For Lawrence, it's about showing the world, the critics, and maybe even the Cowboys front office, that he's still the same unstoppable force he always was. For the Cowboys, it's a gut-check moment, a chance to evaluate whether letting go of one of their most loyal defenders was the right decision. And for the fans, it's a roller coaster of emotion. One day you're cheering a player as a hero, the next you're watching him wear another team's jersey. But that's the NFL. That's the business. That's the reality. And in that reality, there are no guarantees, no fairy tale endings, only decisions, consequences, and the relentless pursuit of victory. So here we are, staring at a new chapter in DeMarcus Lawrence's storied career. It's not what anyone expected, but it might be exactly what he needed. A fresh start, a new challenge, a chance to rewrite the narrative on his own terms. Whether or not he wins a Super Bowl in Seattle remains to be seen, but one thing is certain: he's going to fight like hell trying. And in the end, isn't that what made us love him in the first place?